Owners and Use Manual. Water level indicator. And at the very top, this is an overflow slot. Pour too much water in here and it will spit out. Recommended amount is 1 gallon, 0.88 ounces. Handholds for carrying this. Great idea. This is made of solid molded plastic. Humidity sensor. Wherever you put this in your house, room, you need to make sure that there is air circulation here. Do not push it all the way up against a wall. Air has to flow through here so it can sense the humidity. Here is how you plug in the power. And that, my dear folks, is your power plug. Drain outlet. This is where the water will come out when you drain it. Now this is open. There's a plug on the inside. When you remove that plug, water will spit out of this. Thank you. Hello there. Let's go inside this humidifier. Releases, lift up, and you remove. Now, as you can see, something is missing. And what would be missing is the actual washable filter, which I have removed because it's sitting in my garage drying out since I washed it. Now you have a good look at the inside of this humidifier. And what you don't see are any nooks or any crannies or crevices that you're going to have a hard time cleaning. Now earlier I mentioned on the front of the unit there is a little spout that will spit water out if you overfill it, and that is a protective measure. What is it protecting? It's protecting these vents. You see, this is where the air comes out. Down underneath here is the fan motor. So that needs protection from water. When you fill this, you do not fill above this. Right down here is the plug that you remove when you want to drain the humidifier. That is how you get rid of any water in it when you want to clean it. You drain it. Once you pull this up, it will start spitting out the back of the unit. You do not want to take this unit and dump it like you're dumping water out of a bottle of water. You don't want to do that, because when you flip it back over vertically, you know it's going to happen. Something is going to drip, 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 and go back down into these vents. That's why it's important that you drain the unit by removing the plug and letting the water run out the other way, the proper way. Okay, I think I've covered everything you kind of need to know about this at this point in time. When the filter is dry, I'll bring it back in and we'll go from there. Okay, here's the filter. Stretched out onto the frame and nice and clean from being washed. I want you to see that's a pretty thick filter. And, you know, I took it on and off the frame. It tumbled around in the washing machine. Now I'm kind of fooling around with it. And it's not showing any sign of being, how shall I say this, not constructed very well. It has been constructed very well. I like the fact that it's on a frame. That's going to hold it in place and it won't flop over as so many other filters do sometimes inside other humidifiers. So we go, we grab it, we take it, and that's a nice close-up view, and then we put it right in the humidifier. It's all set, it's all ready to turn on and use. Thank you. Okay, I've turned it on. Now it's going to sound real loud because I'm only about 12 inches above the fan. So the motor is going to be a little bit louder over here than if I was across the room or wherever from it. Now, I'm not going to go through all these lighted up figures on the dashboard, so to speak, control panel, but I will point out one to you. There's the power one, and when it's off, it's going to light up red. It's nice and quiet now, isn't it? This one is your humidification key. You've got a plus, you've got a minus, and after you read the owner's manual, you'll understand how to use those plus and minus keys to determine the speed and the humidity that you want it set at. This is a timer key, and then I really like this key because when you hit that key, as you can see, everything went dark except the two items at the end. That's how you can run this in the dark. Now, in case you're wondering why I've got this situated on a tray, it's not because it leaks. It's because I have carpet and there are air vents down below. So I prefer to have a surface underneath the humidifier that is smooth and doesn't have any fibers or anything else in it that might, affect how the air is swooshed inside. All right, here you go. P.S. I forgot to tell you about a very important feature which some people might wonder about. When this runs out of water, it lets you know it's out of water. It will beep. I can't remember if it's 1, 2, or 3 times, but if you don't come to it, it then shuts down. And on the dashboard here, right about where my finger's pointed, there will be a lit up symbol that looks like an empty container, which is what it will be, empty. So you don't have to worry about the motor burning out or the fan burning out because you didn't hear it. It protects itself by shutting off. It will all be lighted up, but the motor won't be running. Draining the humidifier. There's the plug. Cleaning the inside. Rinsing it out. Make sure when you use a rinser, you do not rinse too high up on the sides because you don't want water to come up and get caught in the air vents right here. You don't want any water pouring down into these air vents. So if you're going to rinse using a rinser, make sure tilt it out to get all the water out. And you can let it dry a little bit and then come back and wipe it down with a towel or cloth. This is how I washed it. Inside one of these special laundry bags for delicates, etc., along with some sweatshirts and other items. Okay. Well, it's out of the bag. Looks like it's in good condition. Feels dampish. I'm going to stretch it over the frame and let it air dry the rest of the way because they don't want you and don't recommend that you put this in the dryer. They also don't recommend that you put it out in direct sunlight to dry it. So it's going to stay here in the garage, stretched out on the frame to dry.
So I am doing a review on this humidifier. It is quite nice. It is very easy to disassemble. Upon receiving it, it will come with that top you just saw. In here is the filter. I currently have water in it, so I don't want to lift the filter up and get water everywhere. And then you have your bottom basin. This is always at the front because it shows you how much water is in the tank. So once you have it all assembled and in there, make sure that you fill it with water before you put the main lid back on. You cannot pour it up through the center. That is your motor, and you will fry the motor. Now, the plug is at the back. Very easy. Once you plug it in, you'll see that the power light goes red. So to turn it on, gently press, and it will auto start at pretty much the same level every time. It is very easy to operate. If you'd like more than this, you simply press the water dots and it turns it down. Then you can turn it up and you can pick the level you want it at. Now, please note, the higher you go, the louder it is. When you turn it down to about a mid-level, which is about the standard humidity you'd want in your home, I'm using this for my main floor, it's actually pretty quiet. Now, this button here is your timer. You have 2, 4, 6, and 8. So depending on how often you want it running, and while you're getting to know the unit, you know, how much water does it take, how often do I need to be refilling it, go with your lower settings until you have a system down. Now, I am going to keep it at 4 hours a day. That's more than enough humidity for my home size to keep my home with a little extra moisture in the air, especially over the winter when everything dries up. Other than that, like, it's a super easy unit. It's very, very quiet. It's got very straightforward instructions. The whole unit, other than obviously this top part with the motor, can be cleaned out. It is recommended that weekly you clean the filter and the basin where the water goes to prevent odors or any issues with your humidifier functioning. Overall, like, you definitely can't feel the mist. You can feel the fan, but that's about it. I love that it's an easier fill. You simply just take the top off, fill it with your water, close it. Now, I had to put about 16 cups of water in here. So it is going to last for a fair bit of time. So don't panic and think you need to refill it often. It is a bit of a bigger unit. So it will work good for a bedroom, but it might be a bit big, especially in rooms like kids' bedrooms. So that is definitely where your timer will come in handy. I also highly recommend the timer because you don't want to be running the system without any water in it. That will just damage your motor and your fan. Overall, I'd highly recommend. This is a very easy to use, very, very quiet and silent, will work great in homes, bedrooms, and offices.